Hi, welcome back to the week of What If. Today's What If, I'll be honest, I wrote it down and I didn't write who gave me a suggestion. So if you are the person who gave me a suggestion or persons, I only found one, but multiple people gave me a suggestion. Just let me know in the comments below and I'll give you a shout out in the comments. But this is what if Goku was in the DC universe? Now, you didn't say DCEU, and you didn't say, and you basically didn't specify what canonically, like anime DC, DC. So I'm assuming you just mean the general DC universe of the DC comics. Also, I've done one that's kind of similar to this one, but this is going to be different, specifically on the fact that the one I did was what if Clark Kent and Goku had swapped places? What if Goku had been adopted by the Kents instead? Meaning there would not have been a Kal-El in that case. There would not have been a Superman. But what if Goku were in the DC universe? So, I mean, we can look at this in several ways. What if Goku was transported to the DC universe, or what if Goku was actually in the DC universe? Let's get the short one out of the way first. If Goku were transported to the DC universe, what would be the circumstance, scenario, and anything along those lines? Well, first off, we gotta look at how powerful Goku is as of right now in the storyline. And the manga isn't really canon. The manga is its own canon as opposed to the anime, although they do share similar storylines. The way storylines go down are different. And certain like events and like types of effects are different as well. Like Ultra Instinct was different in the manga. And different, it was different in terms of how it was kind of used versus it was in the anime. But if we're looking at anime Goku, which is generally speaking the canon Goku at this point, Goku. Now here's the thing: Goku would not be a universal. He's immortal with universal levels of power, but he's not a universal being. He is still immortal and can die. A universal being would be someone like the would be individuals similar to like Darkseid, the Anti-Monitor, the Monitor, deities in that range are universal level individuals or beyond. Like Mr. Mixopolis is a fifth dimensional imp. I think even Darkseid's stronger than him. That one's debatable. Dr. Manhattan, for instance, because he's in the DC universe after a transformation, after an event caused the Watchmen to be sent there. But Goku would have universal levels of power. Like, he would be able to compete with these individuals because of the levels of power he has. But whether or not he can actually beat them is it's up for debate. If you've seen my Goku versus Superman fight, you know how I thought that ended. But those are circumstances that led to a neutral fighting ground. Without a neutral fighting ground, there's a good solid argument. I will legitimately say that Superman would win over Goku. But I think there's a legitimate argument, honestly, that Goku could win over Superman. But that's beside the point. If Goku were just transported to the DC universe, several things would happen. A, some of the more powerful, like cosmically aware individuals would probably be aware of his presence because he has the power of divine, at least gods by his universe's standards, key in there. And gods in that and from his universe can blow up not just planets within an instant, but can take out universes if they so choose. Just is pretty much like it takes all their power to do so. But there's still universe destroyers in it. And I mean like legitimate gods of destruction. Like Moro, for instance, in the manga. He's not technically a god, but he's godlike. The Kais are technically gods. They're not planet busters per se, although they probably still have the power to blow up a planet. They just don't do it. They're more peaceful gods. Zeno, for instance, can easily wipe out an entire multiverse. Grand Priest, second strongest individual in the multiverse. Angels. So, universal level individuals definitely exist in the Dragon Ball Z universe. Goku, in terms of power, is one of them. So the cosmic entities, or cosmic entities, universal beings or beings with universal awareness would definitely be aware of Goku's presence. So individuals like Dr. Manhattan, Darkseid would probably be aware of his presence. A couple of the Lantern Corps might be aware of his presence. Martian Manhunter probably not. I'm just kind of going over some of the deities that might be aware. I'm trying to think. There was no anyone in that pantheon would a power would probably be aware of his presence. What would Goku do? I think Goku would just do what he's always done. Seek out strong opponents, fight for the greater good. So he would probably, after he finds his way to Earth, and a scuffle probably happens between him and some of the heroes, Goku would lay waste to a couple of the heroes in the DC universe. Like, first off, any of the human characters, there's no way they can match up to Goku. Now, Flash is, by all accounts, faster than Goku, but in terms of an actual fight, like if Goku just had, frankly, if Goku went Super Saiyan 2, let's say, he'd probably be able to at least keep up with Flash in a legitimate fight because his reflexes are well beyond light speed. And let's not even get into like the Super Saiyan Blues and all that stuff. So Flash, he would give a problem to Flash. Cyborg, he could probably easily beat. Wonder Woman would be legit. Once you get into like Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Superman, you're getting into individuals who are going to get not only give him a legitimate challenge, but could beat him. Whether or not they could win in a fight against Goku or not, we'll save that for if someone gives me a suggestion for who would win against like Martian Manhunter or Wonder Woman. For the sake of quickly explaining how that would go down, I think it would end in a stalemate, especially when Superman shows up. Because Wonder Woman, for all intent and purposes, isn't as strong as Superman is overall. But if we're going base-wise to base-wise, she can beat Superman in a fight. Unfortunately, I do think Goku could take Wonder Woman, roughly speaking, at least in a hand-to-hand fight, just because they have not similar training, but comparable training to each other. But then again, Goku's power is that of a universal being when he's going all out. Goku, maybe at just Super Saiyan 2, could easily probably compete with Wonder Woman, who's not going all out, mind you. Then, basically, the things will be settled, and eventually he would be joining the Justice League, or just joining Earth. He'd probably spar a lot with Wonder Woman, Superman, all that, so he'd be getting a lot of good training in. Eventually, when threats come around, he'd be facing them along with them. Now, right off the bat, because I know this would probably be brought up, would a Lantern Ring go to Goku at all? Well, first off, I'd have to say if he qualifies for any of the Lantern Corps or not, or what's the most qualified corp he'd be eligible for, then if he'd be able to qualify for it, assuming there's a ring available for him. Because remember, there actually are only so many Lantern Rings in any corp. When a Lantern dies, it goes to the next one. It's not like it's like, okay, we need to go recruit new members, send out more rings. You can make more rings, but there's only a set amount at any time until you make more. Like Larfleeze only has one, but he hoards the entire collective of the Orange Lantern rings because it's avarice, and the greedier you are, the better it's going to work for you. So with that said, you would definitely get him going toe-to-toe with like Darkseid. Him versus Darkseid would probably be a really cool fight to see. Now, ultimately, Darkseid I think is stronger. I do think he's ultimately stronger because he doesn't have, like, say, the same weaknesses like a Superman does, who does have one or two legitimate weaknesses or physical limitations that you can exploit. It's like, what physical limitations? What do you mean? He's Superman. Yeah, except his powers come from the yellow sun. You take away yellow sun radiation, you are going to severely weaken him and eventually kill him. That was what the whole what was it? The World Forger thing did. Basically, cut him off from yellow sun energy. It was only by sheer luck and a little ingenuity by Batman that he made it out of that scenario. So really, he'd just be doing what he's always done. Now, would Goku eventually die at some point going up against like a superpowered being? Him going all out against, I don't know, a Darkseid or a Antimon or something like that? Maybe. Because here's the thing. I said Darkseid would probably beat Goku, especially because he has the Omega effect. But he's, but at the same time, Goku could possibly beat Darkseid, just because, again, with instant transmission, he can, because they say, Darkseid's Omega beams are light speed. Goku can react to light speed attacks. He can react to those actually quite easily. The only reason he got hit that one time by Frieza's goon with a laser in the Resurrection Earthspark is because his back was turned. He didn't think he'd fight dirty like that. Because Frieza legitimately lost that fight. And he was like, no, I'm going to win this fight by cheating. That's all that happened there. In an actual straight confrontation, which Darkseid might be evil, but he has a level of honor. He will confront you head on. I mean, granted, the Omega Beams kind of are wildly and windy, but still, Goku could avoid the Omega Beams if he really had to. So him versus Darkseid, that'd be a really cool fight to actually see. And this was a question brought up in one of our Q&As, but if we ever get around to animating the Who Wins, probably only be a couple select few that we'd animate, but that would be one I'd animate. Oh yeah. Now I think about it, after I'm done with all my videos, I'm gonna maybe look into seeing if that's been done before. Someone made an anime fight with him in Darkseid. So that's generally how it would go in the DC universe. If he were transported there. If he was from the DC universe, that would be a very different scenario, because that means all the Saiyans are from this, basically from the DC universe, because it's Goku. You can't change who Goku is or anything along those lines. It would also mean that Vegeta's still around and Nappa are still around somehow, and Raditz. Still sent to Earth, but it's not the Earth of Dragon Ball, it's the Earth of our world. So it's modern Earth, all things considered. Granted, advanced technology and stuff like that, but see, that's a bit trickier to go down, because does he get raised by a Grandpa Gohan-esque figure? See, the problem is, the moment he turns into an Ozaru the first time, I think Goku actually gets either taken out or just, thrown into custody. Then he spent a lot of his time like juvie or like metahuman camp or whatever it would be, science experiments, whatnot. And so I think what would end up happening is he'd be turned into a weapon. Assuming that the superhero community didn't get to him first. Aside by turning him into a weapon and throw him at some metahumans. Now, maybe a decade or two later, where you have like an adult Goku who's been experimented on, brainwashed, thrown at the metahuman community. Though again, the low-level metahumans would not be, or metahumans, the low-level superheroes, especially the human ones, probably wouldn't be able to take him out. Batman's an exception because Batman has other tech with him and things along those lines. But ultimately, they would need to call on some of the big guns. And at that point, then, you get Martian Manhunter, you get a Flash, you get a Wonder Woman. They, with a low-level Goku, like having Ozaru manipulating him, or being manipulated in Ozaru form. And granted, when I say low-level, he's probably, if we were to go by his power levels, by power level standards, maybe 1,000 or 2, especially after experimentations and like fitness training and all that. And Zenkais. So maybe a couple thousand. Wonder Woman or Flash or Superman, any of the relatively big hitters or superheroes, take him out easy. They take him out easy. Then Goku's pretty much just put in custody. Maybe he gets reformed at some point due to the kindness of, Superman or whatnot. They're able to see some good in him. And, he eventually does join Justice League. This Goku wouldn't be anywhere near as strong as the normal Goku we get. But he ultimately would be a valuable asset to the Justice League, definitely. Maybe even hit Super Saiyan, all that. That'd be kind of cool. But ultimately, that is what I think would happen if Goku were in the DC universe. Both if he suddenly joined the DC universe and if he was just kind of born into the DC universe. But let me know what you think. What do you think would be the scenario if he showed up there, or if he just suddenly was born in that universe? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. So I'll be back in a little bit with Who Would Win and the review for Zombieland 2 Double Tap. So keep your eyes out for that. Later, folks.